Thanks, Riaz. Good morning. Critics are taking issue with the way an in-custody death at Vancouver International Airport involving Canada Border Services is being handled. Lucia Vega Jimenez was taken into custody last month and transferred from a provincial correctional facility to a holding cell at YVR. The BC's coroner service says things started to go wrong the morning after, and the 42-year-old Mexican citizen was taken to Mount St. Joseph Hospital, where she died on December 28th. Now, the BC Civil Liberties Association is calling for an independent civilian investigation.
We're really troubled by the report that Ms. Vega Jimenez died while in custody of the Canada Border Services Agency. We don't know why, we don't know how, we don't know whether her death could have been prevented. And when a death like this happens in the custody of a police force, we think that there needs to be an independent, public and open investigation of what occurred so that the public can get answers.
It's not known how long Jimenez had been in the country or why she was arrested in the first place. The BC Coroner's Service is considering holding an inquest, while the Mexican government is arranging to have the woman's remains sent home. Surrey RCMP believe a crash in Newton on Monday that sent 2 Mounties to hospital was intentional. James Burton Weaver is charged with 2 counts of criminal negligence causing bodily harm. This comes after a driver crashed into a parked police cruiser, pinning one officer between the 2 vehicles and injuring another. RCMP say the crash was no accident.
What we're alleging in our report to Crown Counsel is this was a deliberate act toward the police. We feel that he intentionally rammed the police vehicles. There's no evidence to suggest that he knew or was targeting those specific officers. I think it was targeted at police generally.
Both officers suffered only minor injuries, and the Surrey RCMP's Serious Crime Unit continues to investigate. If you have any information, please contact police. Turns out taking extra time to dodge tolls may not really save you much money. For more on this story, we're joined live by Greg Harper out in New Westminster. Greg?
Good morning, Jody. Yeah, on the New Westminster side of the Patello Bridge this morning, as we look at drivers behind us, we ask the question, how many of these drivers have adopted this route to avoid the increased toll on the Port Mann Bridge? And how much are these drivers actually saving by doing that? Not as much as you may think, according to one expert. This comes out of an article published in the Vancouver Sun, where Todd Littman, who's the founder of a research organization dealing with solutions to traffic problems, he estimates that drivers who travel at least 5 kilometers out of the way to avoid the toll on the Port Mann may only be saving half of what they think. This is taking into consideration the cost of fuel, tire wear, and increased mileage on the vehicle. And depending on the route, drivers who end up being tied up in gridlock it may cost them even more when you consider the amount of extra time spent on the road. It's been well documented that city officials in New Westminster haven't been happy with the increase in traffic they say has happened ever since the tolls have gone up on the Port Mann. What is going to be interesting, Jody, is next month. That's when TransLink is expected to release updated traffic numbers. It is then we will see just how much of an impact, if any, the increased tolls on the Port Mann Bridge are having. Jody?
Interesting stuff. Greg Harper doing the math for us this morning on avoiding tolls on the Port Mann Bridge. Thanks, Greg. A young Surrey woman who tried to torch a police car during the Stanley Cup Riot is headed to jail. Alicia Price is now 23 years old. She was caught on video trying 4 times to set a police car on fire, while a Good Samaritan sat on top trying to save it. She also beat the vehicle repeatedly with a piece of wood, mooned police officers, and threw a chair and a barricade at them. Price was charged with arson and mischief and will serve 90 days behind bars plus 15 months probation. So far, more than 270 people have been charged in connection to the riot, and more than 140 people have been sentenced. U.S. President Barack Obama gave his 5th State of the Union address last night. In it, he called on lawmakers to raise minimum wage for all American workers.
So join the rest of the country. Say yes. Give America a raise.
Asked Congress to raise the national minimum wage for all American workers from $7.25 to $10.10 an hour, just like he has done by executive order with new federal contracts. Obama also asked members of Congress to create jobs, overhaul immigration laws, and combat climate change. And he promised to act unilaterally where possible if they won't compromise.
Wherever and whenever I can take steps without legislation to expand opportunity for more American families, that's what I'm going to do.
We hope the president will join us in a year of real action by empowering people, not by making their lives harder with unprecedented spending, higher taxes, and fewer jobs.
All right, at 6:36, time to get up to speed in the world of sports. And for that, we head to the Connected Studios and Don Taylor.